I will eyeball this story carefully. The other thing going on is they got 151 Japanese devs.
Who's they?
This was sad.
4gamer.net.
4gamer.net.
This was sad. I don't like this story.
4gamer.net got 151 Japanese devs.
As they do every year.
To give their votes, quote unquote.
What are your game of the years?
What are your personal games of the year? Exactly. It wasn't sad. It was just informative to me.
Yeah.
I think it's sad because I think a lot of those aren't honest.
Do you read the translated ones when they come out every year normally?
No, I don't.
There's so much good shit in these things.
Okay.
This year, Tomonobu Itagaki is like, Devil's Third's 80% done. It's coming out next year.
Wow, he's alive?
Yeah, totally.
He didn't melt.
Sorry?
He didn't melt.
No, he didn't melt. No,
cool.
He's fine. He's
the
just
shades
drinking it up.
The shades are keeping him together.
They keep him youthful.
Don't take the shades off.
Those are load-bearing shades.
Take the shades off, Aerosmith just shoots out of his eyes.
So what did these 100 and whatever Pokemon say?
Well, 14 people chimed in, 14 Japanese devs chimed in and said, The Last of Us is their game of the year.
Yo, that game's pretty good.
Yep, 12 went for Grand Theft Auto 5. 12 went for Dragon's Crown, 11 for A Realm Reborn, and then we just go down into mobile games from there.
Can I just ask, what were the really interesting ones that I pointed out earlier?
What were the ones you pointed out earlier?
Resogun and Killer Instinct.
Nice.
Neither of which is out in Japan yet.
Good. But these are developers. They have access.
But Killer Instinct in particular is the one where it's that's on an Xbox on top of it, and it's a super American.
Where was
they're a
it?
developer.
Where was it? Where was in the list roughly?
One vote.
Yeah,
both of these were one vote.
Yeah,
okay.
But they were the odd ones because they weren't.
I really like the obvious juxtaposition of tastes for the Japanese taste towards East and West, where number one is Last of Us, which I don't think anyone would begrudge that list, and then number two is Dragon's Crown.
Yeah.
No, well, it's not.
Number two
Grand
is
Theft Auto 5.
Oh, fuck everything.
Exactly.
Damn it. Well, my whole point is ruined. I'm just going to sleep.
No, that's exactly, no, the point here is that there's actually beginning to accept Western games is holy shit, that's good.
Hold on.
And the other bit here is that Nintendo is fucking nowhere. They've completely shunned out Nintendo on this list,
developers,
with the exception of, if you want to call it, Wonderful 101 way down here with one vote
from Hideki Kamiya.
No. Sitting next to Plague Inc. and Gone Home.
I can totally understand that because Nintendo games are not interesting in terms of game design because they're they're fun to play and they're polished to a mere sheen, but they're more or less running on the same mechanics they invented 20 years ago that they've been iterating on. There hasn't been a weird, super nuts Nintendo game that blew the... What's that?
Pikmin?
And I was about to say, in 10 years.
Okay, so why is Grand Theft Auto 5?
How old is Pikmin?
10 years, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So how much has Grand Theft Auto changed? Why is it number 2?
Well, I mean, obviously the reason number 1 and number 2 are the way they are is because GTA 5 and The Last of Us are just so damn good, and these people only got one vote. It wasn't like a lot of places here, like Kotaku, they did it, you got to pick 3 games, and the first one got 4 points, second one got 2 points.
Oh, jeez, fuck that.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why those got first place and Nintendo's nowhere to be seen, because they just weren't as good as The Last of Us and GTA 5.
And remember,
which
these are
excellent.
And also, I would argue that in past years, games like Last of Us and GTA 5 didn't even exist in the consciousness of many Japanese.
So my first reaction goes how it's a game like Wonderful 101. It's even if you're not into the character action, complexity and all that, you should be able to still respect the craft and how well made it was and stuff like that. But then you realize, no, this is
these are people
game,
too. These are people,
and this is in Japan.
But I mean, besides that, these are humans too.
Yeah.
They, besides just how well it's made, they're voting on what they like.
Sure,
yeah.
No.
But it's but it gets 1, and Revengeance got 2.
Yeah,
Matt's looking pouty. We gotta let him talk.
Because I said, off the thing, I'm not sure if these are, 100% really
Yeah,
honest.
what do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is that, in the last, 2 or 3 years, we hear from every Japanese developer, they're the Americans are just destroying us, and we have to adapt. we have to do this, we have to like look at what they're doing, whatever. Like I don't know, I'm like you guys, but I hear this at least once a month from some different Japanese developer.
Usually Inafune.
It comes up.
Inafune likes to say it a
really
lot.
frequently.
Sure.
And like when I saw that list, my first gut reaction is like, yeah. Okay.
I just remembered something that's on this news list. It makes me want to die.
I thought you were like,
Well, you'll die when it comes up.
Oh.
But it was just like this, the sheer fact that like they're like, I just get this feeling that they're just like, well, we have to start letting the West know that we respect them. And,
Well, you know these are
But
all
Josh, these are individual people.
I know
this is not a
individual
collective
people.
of guys that got together.
I
and
know
decided,
that. I know that. But like
You've got to make the West feel good. Let's vote for The Last of Us.
But no, and of course I love The Last of Us. It's going to be in my top 10. But like I'm just saying, like I get this feeling that after all this time of Japan just going, we need to expand. Our games are so insular. Like it just strikes me as like they want to like.
Well, dude,
hey guys, we're thinking about you.
Sorry, I have to say that if you read this not as a list with numbers next to them, but as 151 separate interviews, you wouldn't have had that because you would have had the guy's feedback and his individual taste and reasons why.
I understood what the list was.
So when you just kind of have a number, it might feel a bit more like a sort of agenda is happening, but these are individual opinions.
Hey man, we all love Japanese games, but there haven't been like that. Like the output of Japan has dropped calamitously in the past generation from the fucking front runner where video games come from to like a territory like Eastern Europe.
Well,
where gems like The Witcher come from, but most of it's kind of weird bullshit.
But then why? How come 10 minutes ago we were saying it sucks that Revengeance didn't get anything?
Well, here, because
it was like one of the best games of the year.
Because it's lowest common denominator entertainment. Even if you go to Japan, they're still the same human beings we are. And I might know a dev or two or a lot whose favorite game this year was Battlefield 4. And I look at that and say, why the fuck would you pick Battlefield 4?
Battlefield 4 is still like a lot of fun.
It's not the best one. Like, why would you do that? And it's just because lowest common denominator entertainment. And as good as The Last of Us and GTA 5 are, they're pretty lowest common denominator entertainment.
That conversation that I had standing in the Future Shop trying to begin to comprehend how to explain to somebody that their opinion about Revengeance was wrong because they really just didn't understand. Like, you don't have that conversation with GTA or Last of Us.
Sure.
You know
but when we're talking about Japanese developers, I'd kind of think that they wouldn't go for the lowest common
but it's a lot of people, and a lot of people, like I said,
they're still human, dude.
Yeah, and that's why I prefaced my 101 statement with like I understand that they might not get all these intricacies that we are super like attuned to, but they would at least respect part of like the craft or something. But it's like, no, if you're telling them pick one game, I guess
pick your favorite.
They just pick that one favorite, and it's
sure, but
it's the big one.
When I see a list like that, it makes me think that like maybe we're going to get even less Japanese style games. Like
we are
absolutely.
That's what's going to happen.
So I'm not happy about this list.
No, I'm not either.
That's kind of my point.
No, I agree with you.
And you're gonna get A, less Japanese games, and B, less Japanese style games,
and more Japanese games on mobile, only released in Japan.
That's why when you said, "Oh, here's this list," I go, "Oh man, I didn't like this list." That goes poorly for
You're going to get more Quantum Theories, and what's the one with the Demon's Tribe, and what's the one with the Jackpad? Dark Void
Collection.
Well, that to be fair, that was.
I know.
Well, it was funded by Japan.
You're going to get more of that, and those companies are going to go away, and Platinum will remain forever, and Nintendo too.
Platinum will remain forever on charity.
And Sega Sammy's...
Quick, we have to save up money to hire
Sega
Platinum.
Sammy's pachinko parlors will keep them alive forever.
From software, hopefully.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's all going to be A-okay because Capcom knows.
God damn it!
Capcom knows.
I sent him this article like right before I noticed you were in the thread on Gab, going, "What the fuck, yo, shit!" I
had the third response, the second response,
so angry.
going, "What the fuck are they doing?"
Capcom knows the age of its fan base.
What is the age of the Resident Evil fan base?
Resident Evil fan.
Well, you just said the Capcom fan base. Fighting games are different.
I'm rolling.
I'm really upset. I'm really upset.
Okay.
This is the worst.
So yeah, in this your annual sort of roundups and whatnot, Capcom had some news about a bunch of different things.
News.
Yeah, because they announced there's some fighting game related stuff to it. We'll get to later. But this is them saying the main Resident Evil fan base is in its 30s and 40s, says Capcom.
Which totally makes sense.
Sure.
Back when Resident Evil 1 came out in 96, if you were old enough to buy that
You'd
and
be 30 or
appreciate
40.
it, you'd be 30 or 40. And me and Matt are exceptions in that we played those games when we were way too young to play those games.
Yeah, we're awesome.
And you're 30-something, you're like 38.
I'm 30.
And I'm less than that.
Not by much, though.
Yeah.
And then there's the billion people who picked up RE4, and that was more or less
Totally,
their first one.
yeah.
Oh well,
And they're a lot
we all know
younger.
RE
Yeah.
starts at RE4.
There are others?
Yeah.
I thought Zero was the first one.
Oh, God.
That doesn't bait you guys as hard as it used to.
No, it's
No.
considering
No,
you
it
think
doesn't.
Street Fighter starts at Alpha 2 Gold.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
You think
that's-
Castlevania starts at Symphony?
Right.
There's
Right,
something wrong
right.
with this guy.
Mega Man starts at
So-
soccer.
So point one, the Resident Evil fan base is considerably older than the main game playing fan base.
Which is not even all that accurate, since like most people that bought RE4 and RE5 were also new guys.
Now, pray tell, now that this data is announced, what do you think they'll do with it?
so
yeah,
what you would think is they would say, let's stop catering our games towards 13-year-olds with the dude explosions, bro. Let's instead cater to this fan base who probably want slower paced, more survival horror games.
What's Chris's partner called?
Which one?
Piers.
Sheva.
Piers. The Piers fans.
But instead, Capcom's solution is that they're afraid that the Resident Evil fan base will grow out of video games. That they've been playing video games until they were 45, and when they turn 50, they will stop.
yeah, that's the age you're supposed to stop.
They will stop caring about
Yep.
Resident Evil.
Yep.
So they are going to redouble their efforts to target Resident Evil at young people, ages 13 to 18, and they will help start the process.
Who's going to help them?
By helping do collaborations of Resident Evil and fashion magazines in Japan.
One might say they're gonna lame it out as if it were cross-Tekken.
Now, hearing this,
They invented that shit. You
So-
don't think they're masters
so-
of laming it out?
This-
waiting for you to get too old to care?
this is the most transparent thing I've ever seen of they are actually throwing their existing audience under the bus. They are saying, this audience literally doesn't matter to us anymore.
Pat, when you sent that to me,
In plain language.
what did I respond to you?
I don't remember.
I sent a single sentence, and it was time to stop caring and get on the Evil Within hype train.
Totally. But
Because it's done.
To me, I don't interpret that way. To me, I interpret it as, we can't make these our main guys anymore. They're stupid, don't get me wrong. But it's not, you guys are worthless. It's, you're not enough anymore. I need more in my life than just
the
this,
idea is that
than
they
just
would
chocolates
be
and
enough,
tricks.
but we're so afraid of losing you that we'll dump you first.
Yeah, maybe so.
Basically.
Yeah.
And it makes... So you see this, and I'm like, this is the worst thing ever. But then I thought back and realized that this has been the thought inside of Capcom about Resident Evil for a while. Like, must have been for years. Because I don't know if you remember how much weird attention to detail Leon's jacket got in RE6.
I was thinking that too.
And how heavily promoted Leon's jacket was,
It was a
alongside the
pre-order
game.
item.
It was a
You buy-
$5,000
They
pre-order
reprinted
item.
it recently.
I
It's
don't
nice.
care.
They hyped
I'll
the
get you one.
fuck out of that jacket alongside the game.
And when I was buying jackets for myself not too long ago, I thought I want like a Leon style jacket.
It worked.
It worked, I did. I bought one.
Yeah.
God,
So
damn it!
So
oh
he-
my god!
now here's what I'm wondering, right? So here we have Capcom Bad Decision 101. Does this somehow like
Yes.
Oh, and
Exactly, yes.
before you
No, you're right. It does.
before you continue and segueing nicely into our previous topic, Capcom developers have gone on record saying we don't know what to do with RE7, but we're gonna make it like The Last of Us.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Like blatantly, they said
Fuck.
we're gonna make RE7 more like other popular games in the genre, and we're looking really closely at Last of Us.
Okay.
And there was a quote not too long or after that where it was just like they were talking just about like your Revelations was kind of interesting. We were trying to experiment with that slower style. Maybe that might, whatever. And then to get this news is like the double like fuck you.
It's amazing that so many things are going to be like, oh, we just want to do what The Last of Us did now, when really The Last of Us just told a fucking good story.
Well, hold on.
And have
And had really good stealth
and had
gameplay.
some game stealth
Remember-
gameplay.
nothing groundbreaking.
Like,
Just
they just did everything we
just
knew.
meant
They just did
well.
it tight.
Hold on.
Like, so suddenly, oh my god, guys, we need to make
the video
good.
game.
Like the worst thing
know?
about Last of Us is that one of your main characters can't swim. That's like the worst part.
Like, we have to they innovated good gameplay. Oh my god.
Let me put it to you this way. Remember when Call of Duty 4 came out and ruined shooters?
Yeah, I remember that.
4?
And
yeah,
simultaneously
Call of Duty
the best
4.
shooter.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, it was the best shooter in forever,
Yeah.
but then it ruined shooters.
Right.
Remember how WoW came out and was amazing
And it ruined
MMOs?
No one wants to be anything else.
Okay, remember how Street Fighter came out and kind of ruined fighting games just a little bit?
No, it created fighting games.
Yeah, that's the one exception.
But it also ruined it.
I'm stalling because I can't remember my third example. Oh, right, Uncharted. Remember when
Yes.
Uncharted came out? And now every fucking third-person action game has to be Uncharted or Gears of War?
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
Here comes the era of Last of Us.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be like as like Uncharted but it's like
No, they're gonna steal
you're
because
gonna
Last
see-
of Us is
yeah.
a change on Uncharted where it's about scarcity and stealth.
The era of
and
stealth,
violence.
The era of stealth action games. That doesn't sound so bad.
And you know what?
But no, you're gonna
with Call of Duty and the perk system and leveling up in a shooter, that didn't sound so bad either. In fact, it was awesome until you get to Battlefield 4, and I gotta unlock every fucking scope for every single gun. Fuck this.
And it doesn't mean major changes for a lot of these guys. It means just making minor tweaks to their already existing gameplay, like minor crafting. And picking up bottles and throwing them.
Oh, you mean stuff that already existed in previous Resident Evil games?
But
that they
just
threw out?
because it didn't do it as good. It's
or now it's high.
frustrating.
It's a lot of thing, no.
Now
the
the
crafting
question-
thing.
When
yeah.
did they get rid of the herbs?
I'm talking about the ammo crafting in RE3.
Yeah.
Oh, well, very specific.
It was
example.
super in depth.
So what I was going to ask was
Oh, fuck Capcom! God damn
the
it!
idea, right, that a fan base gets old and a company then sees that data and panics. Or
These
doesn't
guys are
panic,
old.
but just goes,
You know who's not old? Young people.
yeah, right. So it's like, get on the boat, Grandpa. Send you off down.
Go to the Grey Havens.
pining for fjords, right? And let's go talk to the hip new kids.
Go to the elves with the undying land.
Like, basically, like, are we gonna see that, like, fear coming from other major companies?
It's really
as we continue to get old because we can't fight aging.
Here's the thing, and the thing that's really, really bizarre and weird about it, and it's that video games are less than 50 years old.
Yeah.
So,
Well, as we know them, they're less than 50
the
years
modern
old.
video game,
35 years.
Let's say
yeah.
the Atari. Let's start at the Atari, right?
A bit more, yeah.
The age group that they're talking about are the people who started playing games on the Atari.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knows that when you get to 80, you stop playing games.
No one knows that yet.
Did 90-year-olds stop watching movies?
Exactly. It's the dumbest shit. And it's so frustrating because
Like,
it's like, do we stop having money and purchasing things that we like suddenly?
Because
Why do you fear
video
that?
games is still considered for kids and young people, right?
And
but movies aren't. But
investors are afraid of uncertainty,
Sure.
which is the core of all
But as
investment.
gamers, as a group, age, like, the stretch on how old people game is growing with us because we're not going to stop.
you can't stop us.
The only
You can't stop this
validity
movement.
here
Thank you.
is that as people get older, they play less Twitch games. They play less like
Or less
Ikaruga,
successfully, yeah.
or less
You're
character.
gonna play less Ikaruga one
when
day.
we're
You'll see.
when we're 50, I don't think we'll be as good at platinum games.
But we're not going to
anymore.
stop playing them if they're
we
still
will still
alive.
play, but we won't be
God
as
Lord.
good at them anymore. We might want our more point and clicky,
Unless they're brain
slower
controlled.
Well, hey man,
we'll get
in the
there.
FGC,
When you get your robot arms.
We'll get there.
in the FGC, they say that your peak is 19, and everything after that is downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
evidence
actually, sure.
bears that the fuck out.
Except for Alex Valle.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
But
but
he doesn't win anymore.
he's not at his peak.
Yeah, he's on his feet.
Well, he fucking took second place in KI the other
That's
day.
because everyone else sucks.
That's because it's chaos.
But no, it's yeah, and this revelation
like
that
Alex Valle's 80%. I'm an old man. Shit is still better than fucking 95% of the people out there.
of course. But no, it's frustrating that suddenly, not companies, but I want to really specifically target the data gatherers that work at these companies, the marketing groups, the people that actually put these figures together are suddenly afraid of people getting old and not being interested in these
Capcom
games
has
anymore.
always been
I
cutting
don't know where
edge.
you guys get the impression of fear from this, and not just like financial security.
What do you think financial
those go
security
hand in
is the
hand.
opposite
That's
of?
not fear. That's
no.
that's certainty.
Yes, and investors fear
Okay.
uncertainty.
Okay,
No, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get
right?
what you mean. I
It's
get what
not
you mean.
fear.
It's risk aversion.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
risk aversion. But the risk aversion in this case pisses me off.
Yeah, no, and it does
'Cause
me
it's
too,
bullshit.
for sure. I just don't get why
Regardless
we're
of its risk of-
anthropomorphizing
You know what I
companies.
hate? I hate risk aversion.
Yeah, and
Let's
that's
all go
great.
have unprotected sex with hookers.
What a great way to end the podcast.
that.
See you guys next week.
Yeah.
No.
While smoking.
Hey, you know what'll cheer you up about Capcom? Did you see the numbers for Geist Crusher?
What's
No.
Geist Crusher?
Yeah!
Yeah, exactly. What's
the-
Geist Crusher and what numbers?
What?
It was
Geist
the big
Crusher.
new Monster Hunter thing for younger kids that they were trying.
okay.
Take like the most generic
Shonen.
Super Robot Wars OG style main character with
Yes.
the one glove
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
the lock of
Yeah.
silver
Get
hair
it made
bullshit.
by Treasure and make it a Monster Hunter game that's
Yeah.
actually apparently quite fun. And you place nowhere on the charts.
Well, because
Less than 9,000
that
sales
genre's
on the
too
first
much
week.
for kids.
Dude, it's a lot simpler than Monster Hunter, but yeah, no sales.
It's a weird new IP. It wasn't going to do anything.
We were saying that like we'd like to think that Japanese kids are just getting tired of that
of
style.
that shonen style, yeah.
That style is just getting
It's not that it's
played out.
tired, it's just not what kids
Appealing
these days
anymore.
like, is what I'm
Right,
saying.
sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Whichever, take your pick.
They're all playing Puzzle and Dragons.
But
They
like-
got too old.
But like, what does the
No,
what does the main character of Virtua Quest look like?
A piece of shit.
Okay,
It's a kid with spiky hair
Yes.
and a blue bandana.
sure. That shit multiplied everywhere is hopefully on the down,
Yeah.
like decline, because like
So that's the weirdest thing. You see stuff like that, and it's like, well, they've done that for like fucking 15 years.
Yeah.
We've been stuck with that for forever.
Since Pokemon.
Like,
no,
that's the
no,
total
no,
opposite.
That's like year 2000.
Now all the kids are into
It's 2014.
late 90s.
Yeah.
yeah.
See,
We're old.
Time sucks.
Time
Dude,
Lord.
that is my whole point. This is the opposite situation in which they're like, well, they're all gonna grow out of it, so fuck changing it ever.
You're like, oh, 15 years ago. Bullshit.
Wooly said as he spat his orange out
Remember
on
when
the
you
floor.
graduating high school was almost 15 years ago? Closer to 10, but still.
Nope.
So kids don't like the shonen hero. They like Joel now.
Well, they're all playing on their iPods.
They're all playing.
For serious, they're all
Puzzle
playing on their
Puzzle
iPods.
Yeah.
Dragons.
Yeah, it's fucking
the
depressing.
kids are playing on their iPads.
Oh, it depresses
Kids are
me
playing
so
on their
much.
iPad.
Which makes it weirder because it means that your core video game market that plays games on consoles with controllers and on mouse and keyboard are 20 to 35.
They're playing Kantai Collection, which had 9 votes. Candy Crush Saga, which had 6
What?
votes.
We're
And-
talking so much about Kantai
Line Pokopang, which had 4 votes.
We don't even know
So-
what that one is.
Exactly, but I'm saying browser games from here on out. Browser games as far as the eye can see.
Though. Kantai Collection's good though.
and
Stop it.
not cool
Stop
shit
it.
like
Did you
frog
see the characters in that
fractions.
game?
Liam?
Go look up Shimikaze.
No.
Okay,
She's too
well,
rude for this
while we're on
podcast.
this Capcom train, there's some other Capcom news that might cheer
Is
you
it
up.
good?
What?
It's
There
not-
are
Is it about a fighting game that doesn't exist?